You know, it feels like we're living in a totally different reality. Looking through the videos, online comments and gaming press posts on Cyberpunk 2077, it highlights just how much attitudes towards the game have changed over the past few years. Now, outside of No Man's Sky, this has been one of the biggest redemption arc stories of all time. That is pretty much without question. Update 2.0 for Cyberpunk 2077 then has just released. It's brought with it a massive amount of changes, and today I want to talk about why all of this matters so much. So we all know the mess that Cyberpunk was released in. The game became available in December 2020 as perhaps one of the most anticipated games of all time. Arguably, it was a massive commercial success, selling 13 million copies in just the first 21 days. Now that's absolutely amazing to me. 13 million copies sold in 21 days, despite the massive negativity surrounding the game at the time. Now, you might well wonder about refunds. Surely, I hear you ask, that must have put a massive dent into these sales figures. Well, not so much. It turns out 30,000 refunds were issued by CD Projekt Red, costing the company around about $2 million. So 30,000 refunds, I don't know if that also includes Steam refunds, but I'd imagine so. That's less than 0.25% of their initial 13 million sales. For CD Projekt Red then, that was never going to break the bank. What it did do, however, was completely trash their reputation and also tank their share price. The past years then have undoubtedly been a long and hard slog for CD Projekt Red. Within days, maybe even within hours, they went from being one of the most respected studios in the industry to one of the most vilified. Yet, step by step, they have earned back so much of that reputation. Since Cyberpunk release, the studio has released, numerous updates for the game. Some of them are pretty significant. The biggest update, however, has just hit. It's just arrived. The massive overhaul that brings Cyberpunk 2077 to version 2. And based upon what everyone is saying and what little I've seen of myself so far, it really is a substantial update. And we're going to get into some of that shortly. Ultimately then, this comeback story for CD Projekt Red is a very big deal. It shows there's still companies out there who are very passionate about their product releases. Of course, some people will claim that the studio simply wants to make money, and that was the prime motivator in them fixing things. Well, duh, obviously that is, obvious, isn't it? I mean, what's the point of a company if not to earn a profit? Yet, unlike many companies out there which have released botched games over the years, CD Projekt Red have continued to make improvements on the title. It's a formula that has worked, and worked very well for Hello Games with No Man's Sky. But that said, it's only fair to point out that undoubtedly the huge sales of these games, and thus the huge financial return, will certainly have helped these studios budget for all these fixes. Alternatively, it could just have been far simpler for them to walk away and make a multitude of excuses, just like other studios have done in the past. In the end though, this has been an impressive journey for Cyberpunk. The game is now well loved and highly respected. By October of 2022, it reached a user review status on Steam of 90% positive, and I think it's sitting around about 89% positive today. Hopefully that's going to improve a little bit after these releases. Now incidentally, the game is on sale over on Steam. It's got a 40% discount just in case you're interested on picking it up. Now, as for the update itself, unlike a lot of YouTubers out there, I didn't get early hands-on access to the title to this update, so I can't speak too much from experience just yet. However, since it released, I have spent an hour or so with it. The improvements with the game are all immediately obvious, and the game now is very much in the place I originally hoped it would be. For me, Cyberpunk 2077 now feels like an ideal hybrid between a fantastic RPG and the GTA franchise. Now, I don't know about you, but that is what I was originally expecting the game to be. So, Update 2.0 is huge. This can all be broken down into two distinct elements. The first being the gameplay overhaul, the second being new additions to the graphics engine, and let's start with those graphical improvements. These come from the addition of the newly released NVIDIA DLSS 3.5 update. Now this update from NVIDIA, released alongside Cyberpunk yesterday, One of the DLSS 3.5's most notable features is ray reconstruction. Now, this improves lighting that is found in ray-traced scenes, and by all accounts, it also seems to be a bit better in terms of performance compared to previous iterations of ray tracing. In terms of image quality, there's improvements that are especially noticeable when it comes to reflections. This really was obvious to me, but it's also noticeable when it comes to shadows and numerous other areas. For a full breakdown of ray reconstruction and DLSS 3.5 in Cyberpunk, I highly recommend you check out the latest video from Gamers Nexus. I'll link that in the video description. The takeaway from Tech Jesus' video, however, is that ray reconstruction offers sharper reflections, better lighting, and reduced visual artifacts. However, there are instances where it can introduce its own set of visual glitches. Now, as mentioned, there's also a slight performance boost. The frame rates will be a little bit better. This graphical update is supported by NVIDIA RTX 2000, 3000, and 4000 series cards. However, it does require Cyberpunk's overdrive option to be enabled, which is super demanding and will definitely be hitting those frame rates very hard. Likely, the best performance you're going to get is on the 4000 series cards. As to the gameplay overhauls, well, there's many. The police system has been dramatically changed. It features a heat system for the cops, much like what you find in GTA. Now, this gives you the old 5-star rating system, where 5 stars will effectively have you chased down by the military, and 1 star will be fairly easy to escape. This is working very well. It seems to be a lot of fun. Gone are the days then where police simply teleport in and just, surprise you really, teleport into closed off rooms. Now, the perk system has also been overhauled. I won't go into too many details on this as I haven't looked into it myself, but Dantix has a good showcase for this one, so I'll link that in the video description. Do check it out. Vehicle combat is another area that has been vastly improved. You can now shoot from within your vehicle without having to lean out of a window. Again, in execution, this works almost the same as GTA's vehicle combat. There's a lot of other smaller changes too in the 2.0 update which directly do affect the game. Things such as health packs and grenades are no longer consumable, meaning you no longer need to keep buying them or tracking multiple ones down. Instead, you just equip the health pack or grenade or whatever other consumable item, and you can continuously use it after a short recharge period. Cyberpunk 2077 then, version 2, is, it's a massive change over what we had a couple of years ago. If you've never played the game up until this point, it's certainly worth jumping in right now, and in fact, it's a game I'm going to be checking out over the coming days. I want to spend a weekend with it at the very least. The main takeaway point for me then is that sometimes developers really can deliver, and in fact 2023 so far has been a very good year for games. Let me know in the comment section below whether or not you're going to be playing the Cyberpunk update. Have you played the game before? Is it going to be your first time, or are you going to give this one a complete miss? Do let me know. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.